Welcome to Weather Watch, Millersville University's exclusive weather entertainment program. I am your host, Alex Bronski. Since our last episode, there have been a few rather devastating weather events across the world. Let's catch up on those major headlines with weather in 60 seconds.
A dangerous typhoon in the Philippines, record-breaking heat in Spain, and a deadly hurricane in the United States are all a part of your weather in 60 seconds. As the seasons begin to change, temperatures begin to soar out of control in Spain. During the first couple weeks of September, Spain soon held the record for the highest temperature ever in Europe, at an astonishing 115.5 degrees Fahrenheit in Sanlúcar la Mayor. The country was shocked by the deadly heat. Most people were advised to stay indoors to prevent potential heat stroke or dehydration. Now traveling to the Philippines, on September 14th, a Category 5 typhoon, Mirante, slammed the island, showing no mercy. Structural damage left in the storm's wake was unimaginable. More than 10,000 people were affected by this powerful storm, leaving most without access to clean water, and the island with $5.13 million of debt. Lastly, about a month later, yet another life-threatening hurricane shook the United States. Hurricane Matthew devastated the East Coast. Millions of people stretching along the Atlantic coast were forced to evacuate in preparation for Matthew's fury. In Florida and North Carolina, most coastal places were left underwater and without electricity for days. And that's your weather in 60 seconds.
Storm chasing has interested both scientists and the public for decades. It is extremely dangerous if you do not know what you are doing. Here is Brandon with his experience on the chase.
This past summer, I had an opportunity with the Center for Severe Weather Research, or better known as CSWR, to partake in a project called Twirl. The project's goal was to better understand the low-level winds of tornadoes by deploying mobile mesonets and Doppler on wheels in and around severe thunderstorms. CSWR deployed 3 Doppler on wheels and 3 mesonet vehicles, better known as the Scout vehicles, along with 2 additional vans for cargo and tools for the mission. I was assigned to one of the Scout vehicles for the project, where it was my job to deploy pods that had instruments to measure pressure, wind speed, wind direction, and relative humidity in front of tornadoes. We traveled roughly 17,000 miles during this 6-week project. In total, we saw 22 tornadoes on 7 tornadic storms. We were also able to successfully deploy twice on the project, once near Sulphur, Oklahoma on May 9th, and once near Dodge City, Kansas on May 24th. On May 9th, we started our chase near Wynnewood, Oklahoma. A very violent EF4 tornado touched down, destroying everything in its path. The Scout vehicles deployed all their pods, all of which missed. However, Scout 3 decided to hang on to one pod in case we had another opportunity to deploy. The initial EF4 tornado lifted up, then formed into a very large multi-vortex EF3 tornado. We saw which way it was going, and then decided it was our one and only shot at having a successful deployment. We deployed our last pod in front of the massive tornado and immediately got out of the way, as the tornado continued to do destructive damage to everything in its path. While looking at the models to determine where to chase, we looked at several parameters that go into producing a tornado. After picking out a place to chase, we waited for the storm to fire. Once the storm fired, we looked for a lowering base below the supercell, also known as a wall cloud. Given the right conditions, the wall cloud would begin to rotate and produce a tornado. Do note that this type of storm chasing is very dangerous and should not be done unless you are with a professional doing it for research purposes only. However, anyone can still go out and storm chase with the proper knowledge and experience. If you do not have the proper knowledge and experience, there are plenty of companies who do storm chasing tours. Reporting for Weather Watch, I'm student meteorologist Brandon Molyneux.
Thanks, Brandon. Severe weather is extremely difficult to forecast for, let alone explain to the public. Emergency management officers and local broadcasters have an important role in portraying the forecast to the public and getting them ready for the storm. Here's Olivia with more.
Meteorologists often have a hard time trying to portray what is going on in the atmosphere in a way that is easy for the general public to understand. They also struggle working with emergency management officials when destructive weather events may occur. We interviewed meteorologist Matt Moore from WGAL and nuclear coordinator Shen Kreiser from the York County Emergency Management Office on how they prepare for these dilemmas.
So creating a forecast so that the public can understand it is definitely a tricky part in this business, because if you think about the amount of people that watch the local news and you think about those people specifically, you have a wide range of age groups, you have a wide range of backgrounds and education levels too. So you have to take this complicated science, which is meteorology, and went to school for it for 4 years or more, learning all of these complicated terms and trying to consolidate that down into something that someone from the ages of 5 years old to 95 can understand.
So we get a lot of information from the National Weather Service in State College, and then we also get some information from the state through PEMA, and they have a state meteorologist now. And then that's followed up with usually a statewide conference calls that will give us a little bit more detail than the weather briefings, and then we'll take some of that information and we'll give that to the public. And I think when you're dealing with the public, they might hear, oh, 6 to 8 inches, or half an inch of freezing rain, but they don't really understand what the impact of that is. So I think taking that and converting that to what the impact will be to services or public or just the daily operations of events is probably where we come in then, and we can say you should take these actions ahead of time in order to be prepared for the weather event that's coming.
We get a lot of questions from the public, and rightfully so. I mean, we are seen as a scientific authority in a scientific wealth of information, especially when it comes to earth sciences and really anything science related. So we get a lot of questions, especially on social media, and we get them through emails too. So how we handle that is we typically try to, the same way we try to make things as a simple answer on the air, we try to explain answers to the viewers when they ask us questions. We try to do that in a simple way as well.
Well, in advance of an event, we try to put out a lot of public information. We have our own public information officer that works with our department, and so trying to get the citizens informed ahead of time of what actions they might need to prepare, if it's weather, snow, that kind of thing. And then also, during the event, don't go out if you can help it, making sure that you are shoveling your sidewalks and just kind of preparing. And then we also have people try to check on their neighbors and things like that, and try to, take care of themselves.
Forecasting is no easy task. Meteorologists have to create an accurate and direct daily forecast and also provide the public with the best possible warning when inclement weather strikes. Emergency managers work to direct the public on the steps they need to take to prepare and respond to the weather. Reporting for WeatherWatch, I'm student meteorologist Olivia Angevine.
Thanks, Olivia. That concludes this episode of WeatherWatch. Please be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can also visit our website at muweatherwatch.com to view all of our previous episodes. On behalf of the entire cast and crew, thanks for watching, and be sure to catch us next time.